Hey, buddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, or is it New Frontier Pass? I can't remember anymore. Listen, we're down bad, okay? Our empire is in rough shape. However, we are playing Scythia, we are going for a religion game, and we have managed to make it to the medieval era with a heroic age. And we are cranking out Monumentality, Penbrush and Voice, and Exodus of the Evangelist. So our options are wide open right now. It is a brand new, fresh era, and I think my move right here is to go ahead and grab myself a couple of settlers. Now, the advantage of playing without barbarians means that the AI does have an easier time because the AI tends to have a harder time dealing with barbarians than players do. It also means I can send settlers unescorted into the fog of war without fear of them getting yeeted by a barbarian caravel. Randomly. I need to think carefully about how I use my builder charges because I'm not going to get a whole lot of them this era. I'm already working these high food tiles. So if I'm already working these high food tiles, potentially putting a farm on them does make sense. However, these tiles have already flooded a couple of times. So I think committing a full builder to this entire thing would be bad. I think putting one farm on this wheat is totally valid because it is a nice growth bonus for this city. I also think the city is focusing a little bit too much on growth right now. So I might lock in some like okay growth tiles and then focus on growth and production here. I think I need to transition the city into just a little bit more production. 13 is quite low at this stage of the game. We've had an absolutely horrendous start. Let's just be real here. We did find Cahokia, which isn't bad. And they do want a Eureka for construction. Now, the Eureka for construction, if I remember correctly, is to build a watermill, which is something we could potentially do in our capital, but that's a lot of production to invest into a single Eureka. If it was 2 Eurekas, maybe I would consider it. I don't really care about either of these. And as far as I know, most people are probably going to vote for religious city-states for double the yields. So I'll vote that up once. And then usually people say that units should be cheaper to produce. So I'll vote that twice to try and force the outcome and get myself 2 diplomatic victory points. Yeah, it looks like we managed to nail both of those. That's a perfect World Congress for me. I really do want to meet more players. That's going to be the big thing that triggers me to get a lot of value here. So if I could maybe get Suzerainty of Auckland, I might meet another player, because meeting another player would give me the ability to trade with that player and get rid of these resources like my horses, because like I can't get rid of them to anyone else right now, which is far from ideal. So there's definitely 2 cities going down on this island, possibly even 3. With this amount of land, I think 3 cities is entirely possible. 1, 2, 3. I think if I settled here, here, and then somewhere up here, like maybe there. So these 3 cities are kind of what I'm considering right now for this island. 3 extra cities is a big deal. It's more than the crappy amount of cities I had before. So one thing that I'm worried about is the appearance of iron on the island that I want to get the mausoleum on. If iron does appear here, it's not the end of the world because I can just move the harbor down here. It's a +3 harbor and put the mausoleum there. So I'm not too horribly concerned about that. I would also really like to maybe pick up lumber mill tech. So I'm in a very awkward place when it comes to the game right now. And I think I would also like Pearly Gates to maybe have a little bit more housing. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to use 2 charges on more fishing boats for this city because it just needs housing, like really badly. But I really, really, really need to get Suzerain of Auckland here. On a coastal map like this, Suzerainty of Auckland is just huge. So I might be able to pull that off once I get the defensive tactics. I can plug in the double first envoy card and then send in 2 envoys to it and get Suzerainty perhaps. But this will be probably one of the most important city-states to hold Suzerainty of this entire game. Norway has already started to claim some of these uninhabited islands, which is very scary for me because that means the amount of land on the map is already starting to shrink. Norway is probably one of the worst civs that could have appeared for me here on this map. Just this particular map. Because he can already cross the ocean super early into the game, so he just has a lot more freedom when it comes to like screwing you out of settle locations. And I'm pretty sure he just also builds a massive navy too. So for this particular map, Norway is actually a problem for me. But I can probably sneak over here and convert a city. And every city I can get converted early saves me conversions down the line. Man, the land quality here is actually garbage. Like I really just do not have good land options. Which is very, very concerning. So the iron was on the 1 tile island. That's not so bad. We do get downgraded in our harbor by 1 adjacency, but we could still do a mausoleum. And then we also have access to iron now, which is quite a big upgrade to the point where I would maybe consider not doing pearls and instead buy the iron and improve it. I think that's exactly what we're going to do, like so, because that's just the city lacks production. So getting that production is huge. there's Nazca. Now, Nazca is a sieve that could turn this terrible desert land into something workable. So Nazca is also a really, really nice find for me this game. Now I have 2 city-states that want me to trigger Eureka for construction. So the value of a watermill here in my build has just gone up. It's like doubled in terms of envoys, which makes it a way, way, way more viable option for me to pick up. Celestial navigation is completed, so we can start placing our harbor in here. As much as I want to go for the temple in here, I think getting access to the mausoleum in Pearly Gates is just so important that I'm willing to slightly sacrifice in other areas to grab it. Also, I really like this new modification of the detailed map tax mod, where when you place something down on top of a tack, it automatically deletes the tack. This is like a really, really cool mechanic because it's what you do almost every time you place something on a tack. And I really appreciate the mod creator making that change, at least making it an option. Okay, so here's our government plaza in Compromise. I really want the temple because it's worth 4 culture and 8 faith. Like, that's a huge amount of faith and culture. But I also really want my ancestral hall because of the free builder when I settle a city. That's like an extra 66 production per settler. So I think I go temple and then ancestral hall because it'll take me a while to save up for my next settler. I'm kind of mad that they got to this island before me, but that's just the reality of the situation when you're dealing with this. I'm going to pick up research around Pingala. I need a little bit of science and culture to keep me in the game, but that's going to be basically all of my early game points put into Pingala, and then the rest are probably going to go into Moksha, so I can have double promoted Yerevan missionaries to spread across the world. We have theology, we have defensive tactics. I think it would be okay for me to pick up recorded history for another governor title. I could grab Moksha. It would be okay. I think I also want to pick up feudalism here, so we'll start working on that. I need to come in here and I need to change charismatic leader to diplomatic league. Boom. I don't think I keep conscription in. Caravansaries is okay for me to plug in. None of these cards are really very good. I mean, Land Surveyors is quite good because it makes me be able to buy tiles a little bit cheaper, which will give me a little bit more flexibility when settling my cities. I could also plug in colonization and actually hard build cities later. But I think I'll just plug in Land Surveyors because I could do a little bit of tile purchasing if I want. And now I can put 1 envoy into Auckland. That'll get me 2 envoys. And then I put a 2nd envoy into Auckland. That'll find me a bunch of new stuff and actually give me viable tiles on the coast here. This is huge. This is like a massive swing for my empire. I'm tempted to pick up Liang and use my gold for builder purchasing in somewhere like Ali Meadows, which is relatively central in my empire. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab Liang, place her into Ali Meadows. I don't think I can afford to chop out my land this game because my land quality is just so low. But I'll start purchasing builders in here in 5 turns. So I think we just start settling these islands. Hello, Japan. We've met Japan off the back of making friends with Auckland. And we absolutely want to be friends with as many people as possible this game to try and keep them happy. And we also want to be selling as many resources to other players as possible too, because it's pretty much the only way we're going to get back into the game is selling off our excess resources. So unfortunately, I don't have enough iron to sell. I can, however, sell open borders eventually. But finding Japan, he's in a really, really good position here. We're in a very bad position compared to them. We do have a few tribal villages that we need to consider picking up with our scout. I don't remember where I put my scout. So yeah, we definitely want to see if we can grab a few of these tribal villages just to get a little bit of value out of this scout. Neapolis is a newly settled city. What is the best way for me to get holy site adjacency value here from this area? It would probably involve late game woods stuff because woods give value to these. So maybe like a triangle of holy sites surrounded by forest would be like the perfect case. And the best version of that is like holy site here, holy site here, holy site here, and then woods all around. I think it's not great, but it's something. And then this can be like wild card, I don't know. This is kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if planting woods shows up with regards to adjacency, but something like this, I think, is probably the best way for me to get high faith in this area. The other option I could do here is just to do a whole load of Kurgans around here. I don't know. It's hard to know exactly what we want to do. But I'm thinking some kind of configuration, at least with these guys in a triangle to help each other a little bit would be ideal. I might just have to do Kurgan meta here. Yeah, I might just go full Kurgan, which is a rarity for me because I rarely go full Kurgan. I don't think national parks are very important for me. That's more of a tourism thing. I need things that give me faith. Petra. The problem is I like the idea of a Petra here. I mean, maybe if I were to settle here, if I were to settle right there, all right, hear me out on this Petra. If I were to settle right here, take these 3 tiles and then try to build a Petra, I mean, I guess I could theoretically almost make that work. Great profit points convert to faith. And do they do anything else after you've gotten your profit? No, they pretty much just turn into faith and then that's it. Jebel Barkal for faith. I would like to build a Jebel Barkal. I just don't know if I have the production or time to do it because it's one of those ones that the AI actually likes to build. And it's quite late now into the game. Like a lot of the AI are over here are already in like Renaissance era and I'm only just now climbing my way into classical. So yeah, I don't know if the Jebel Barkal dream is going to become true. I wish I could pass through Nazca here, but I can't, so I'll have to go around. There's pottery at long last, which will be useful to get things like granaries in my cities. I don't know why Norway is mad that I'm like exploring near his territory. Actually, man, he like forward settled me hardcore here. Like he seriously did. We found Nan Madol. Nan Madol is huge this game, if I could take control of them. Harold has control of them, which explains why his culture is so high. We got our temple in compromise, and now we're working on our ancestral hall, which should roughly line up with our next unit construction. We got our holy site in Chirmatalik. Let's go ahead and get to work on the shrine. Just tuned in. Why so slow? Which challenge is happening here? This isn't a challenge. This game is just going terrible. Let's just be real here. Let's call a spade, okay? This game is just going horribly. So I think now I'm going to go into Ali Meadows here and start gold purchasing builders. Now that Liang is established, I can start sending builders out from the city in a sort of radial, expansionist way. I'm tempted to buy a grand. I think buying builders is way more important though. But we will go for the shrine here. Shrine is worth culture and faith. It's culture and faith is how I get back into this game. And I think we can get back into the game. I don't think this game is hopeless yet. I think there is hope, So just, that's not copium, okay? We should be huffing on hopium right now. Okay. +1 era score, beautiful. We also have feudalism now. I'll definitely be plugging in serfdom. Probably should have waited on black builder purchase. Hey, listen, mistakes happen. It's not the end of the world. And I think I'm going to plug in charismatic leader here so I can get more envoy points. I really want my diplomatic quarter and the Petra here. So I'm kind of excited at the prospect of making that happen. Let's come over here to Kralex and buy some settlers. I think maintaining suzerainty of Auckland is probably the most important thing for me in this game because of the production I'm going to be getting from my coastal tiles from them. Let's pick up recorded history for the governor title. And otherwise, we're just kind of like slowly chooching our way along. I would like to run through Norway's lands now. Let's send this settler here for the potential Petra City. We're going to gamble on a Petra City. Nazca is in the game. There's a whole bunch of cool things in the game. I'd like to get the mausoleum here. But what I'm going to do is I will get a slightly less optimal builder because I would like to chop that tile first. So I'll spend a little bit of time building something random like, I don't know, a temple feels like a good investment. It's rare that I would go temple before my monument and granary. Because like if you think about what the granary does here, it allows my city to grow. However, 8th faith per turn is just so huge. Neapolis would be better off named as Neopets. Sure thing. Food, my man. I really want all 3 of these buildings, but the order in which I get them kind of impacts my game a little bit. Like if I go for the temple first, it might mean that I squeeze out an extra settler or builder or missionary in this era, right? So I think I just have to go for the faith-based things fast. And I'd also really like to pick up apprenticeship now for the +1 production from mines. That was pretty important to me. I am going to be starting to lay down a few mines here, just in key cities. Otherwise, it's going to be heavy on the Kurgan gameplay. We had really bad early holy sites, so I decided to take Divine Spark on my religion to give me a chance to have a religion of value this game. So I've got tons of amber spare to sell here, like 100 gold from Japan or 11 gold per turn. 11 gold per turn is crazy. I'll take 77 gold straight off of Norway too. This is why exploration is so important to me right now. I need to find the other players because I'm missing out on so much value because I'm not trading with people, which is why for once I'm so glad to see Tamar in my game. So Norway thinks my navy is too weak now. I might need to crack out an extra galley or two just to impress him. We'll send a delegation to Georgia. I'll do mutual open borders with Georgia. And then I'll also see if she wants to buy any of my spare stuff. Like, looks like my iron is pretty high in value. Everybody wants iron. I wonder who's going to pay me the most. Looks like Matsamusa is offering the most for the iron. So I'll take Matsamusa's deal. Nobody wants horses, unfortunately. We do now have Ancestral Hall, so we are getting a free builder with every settler that we make. That's pretty big. My capital isn't anywhere near its growth potential. However, I do think picking up a watermill will complete a couple of envoy quests, in particular for construction. So I think building that watermill actually represents 2 free envoys across the map. Now, one thing I have to consider is, both of these are going to be my first envoy. So next turn, I'm going to go, right now, I'm going to go ahead and switch in the Diplomatic League card because then this will actually be now worth 4 envoys rather than 2. It's just like carefully positioning yourself on the map with regards to that stuff is just important. Now, who actually made the religion of Eastern Orthodoxy? I don't know who it is, but it's a dominant religion in 20 cities. And my religion is slowly starting to spread to Norway. I'd like to help that along a little bit if I could, but I think for now we're totally fine. I'm happy with Liang just being a guild master. I could theoretically go to aquaculture here and make her city really, really powerful. The question is, am I actually going to be moving her over to Pearly Gates in a little while and doing like fishery spam in the city? It's totally viable. I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get like 5 fisheries in range of this city. That's like an extra decent chunk of production. Lots of food, lots of housing. I could have a very, very powerful city here working all of these. Yeah, I think I will get her moved over there. So I think eventually I will be picking up aquaculture, but I also need to start thinking about Moksha. I don't have infinite governor titles, and I should be really thinking about Amani as well in order to send her on a world tour and pick up some suzerainties if I could. I think it might be a little bit late for an Amani world tour, and I'll just go ahead and grab Moksha because I can use Moksha to just drop him in Kralix to passively spread my religion a little bit up this way, because there is like a little bit, as far as I can tell, yeah, there's like a little bit of religion spread here, and I'd like my religion to overpower theirs. So I'll just use him essentially as a small faith token and religion spread token. Let's keep getting more amber. The more amber that we have, the more we can sell when we eventually meet more people. Like Tamar will buy amber for 10 gold per turn. It's huge. I hope this really illustrates, Mount Rorama, there's more era score. I really hope that this game illustrates why it's so important to scout early and to pick up things that you can sell to the AI, like luxuries and strategic resources. I'm really hoping that that's teaching. Like, I have objectively the worst start of 2021 here, and this is the last game I'm going to play in 2021, and I'm still doing okay thanks to selling things to the AI, just carrying my economy. We have recorded history, which is another governor title. I don't think we need to start like hardcore spreading with Moksha until after this era. But I do think we need to start pushing up this direction. So I think I will pick up Grand Inquisitor. Let me have a think about where am I going to get my next governor titles. There's 1, 2. I need 3 governor titles for Moksha, essentially. There's 1, 2, and then 1 for my tier 2 government. So there's 3 in this era, and I need 3 for him. I have 1 in the bank. So I can actually freely spend this on another person. This can be a freely spent one. So I could pick up aquaculture here if I wanted to, just to lock it in for later. You think the Japanese Eternal War game was worse? You could argue that that was worse, and I probably wouldn't hardcore disagree with you. I do want to pick up my alliances now. It would be good to get a religious alliance with someone like Norway so I can start trading with them, or potentially even the Malian Empire. Man, he started with like the god natural wonder as well. This was like legendary start, and I got the least legendary start on the map. For real, dude. I'm going to harvest here to get that temple 4 turns sooner, and then we'll place the mausoleum on that tile. It will be a 37 turn temple. However, that's only if we don't actually like improve the production of the city, which we fully plan on doing. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and buy a granary in here because I need the city to grow just a smidge in order to justify working these hills that I'm going to improve with mines. Yeah, legendary start didn't mean legendary good. It meant legendary bad. True. I don't think I start playing fisheries in here. And I don't want to chop this jungle because it's literally the only production that exists in this city. Although then again, how much do I care about production in this city? Is it really ever going to have anything resembling a productive tile? Probably not ever. So maybe harvesting now and then closing my eyes and praying is my best move. Harvest, boom. And then we can get the start on the harbor. We place the harbor, but we're going to get the temple first. Hey, how's it going, Patchacutie? Patchacutie. So meeting another player, again, super based. Send a delegation, try to get a friendship, have positive relations, sell him things, buy mutual open borders to improve our relationship even more. Even I'm willing to pay for open borders too, but just that the power of being friendly with somebody cannot be overstated. I need to improve more luxury resources to keep selling them. Nan Madol is now just a wall that I can't get past, which is kind of sad. I have kind of snuck past Norway. He's building the Great Lighthouse. It's unfortunate for me. I wouldn't have minded that. We're settling our Petra city. We could also settle over here if we wanted to be massive jerks and pick up 3 extra copies of Amber and potentially isolate Hamar. He also settled Hamar in literally... I think my goal this game is to get Hamar to flip independent and then to try to murder it when it's a free city state so I can actually get 3 useful cities in here. Like, this is the worst. Like, there's actually room for 3 cities here, right? A city here? No, there's room for 2. Valletta kind of makes it a little bit too awkward. Turn 200 Petra. Well, what I'm going to do here in Pizirk is I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of tile swapping to make this into an actual viable Petra run. I'll buy this tile from this city and buy this tile from this city and then place Petra across the water right there. Because then potentially 3 cities could put theater squares next to it. You say Hamar wrong. How do you say Hamar then? Amar? 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 Is it Amar? I'm trying to think of like how a Norwegian might say it, like Amar.
Hamer.
This is an 80 turn Petra, but look, right, this is the best we can achieve, right? We'll get that down when the city grows a little bit. I'll probably invest a little bit into the city too. Hamar. So like Hamar. Hamar. Not Hamar. Hamar. Hamar.
Hamer.
We do have access to silk down here, which I'm kind of excited about. But I need to get these mines online for pearly gates first. There's Ethiopia. You know what? Honestly, there's a part of me that's like, man, I spawned in a really terrible starting location. But there's also a part of me that really would have been unhappy if I'd spawned on these massive islands where there's like multiple players, because I would not have had a good time. Let's declare friendships, get mutual open borders, all that great stuff with all these AI players. We want to be friendly with as many people as possible. We want to be as uninvolved in world conflict as we can. The only city that I really want to have killed is Hamar here. Hamar. I don't know how to say the city's name, but somebody's trolling me saying I'm saying it wrong. Hamar. Hamar. But I want Hamar to go, which might necessitate settling a one-tile island to put extra loyalty pressure on it. Although I think I'm too far away to actually put real pressure on this city, so I think I just give up on that dream. I could have horse rushed if I shared land. That's true. I could have horse rushed someone. I think we're in a relatively okay position. All right, we're only 22 science, which is like 1/10 or 1/5 or 1/6 of what most people have, but that's still not terrible. Because we don't care about science. We care about spreading our religion. And once we hit the Renaissance era, that's our goal. We'll start spreading. Now, talking about my capital, do I want to continue to grow my capital? Or do I want to start spamming extra settlers out of this city? I think I would like an extra galley to figure out what's going on over here. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to crack out like 2 extra scouts, maybe an extra scout or something. Maybe 1 scout and a granary to get this city growing and improving. There's apprenticeship boost, so we will start seeing production dividends from that. I feel like if Kurgans gave like 1 food, 1 production, they'd actually be like the most broken tile improvement in the game. But the problem is they don't give food and production, so they're kind of trash on plains. Oh, here's how you make the Kurgan awesome. +1 production on grassland, +1 food on plains. Boom. The Kurgan is now the most viable tile improvement ever. It's just like the lack of food and production, like so tough to justify building it in certain cases, you know? It's still good. It's really good now. That's the thing. We got our temple and pearly gates, and I think it's time we work on the mausoleum. It's a 50-turn mausoleum, but we are going to retool this city a little bit. So I'm going to be working pretty heavily on the production side of things. So that's going to only be a 30-turn build now. And I might even go ahead and buy myself a lighthouse in here to try and speed that up again. Because if I buy the lighthouse, I could work a lot of these coastal tiles a little bit more justifiably. And then I would grow into those production tiles, which would eventually speed up the whole thing. Like, I mean, there's the +4 era score. But I mean, look at this Kurgan. It's 1 food, 2 faith, 1 production, 3 gold. That's a pretty damn good tile, all things considered. I'm not going Magnus this game, but I am going to Locust a little bit. Religion is all about pumping in one direction and not worrying about the long-term consequences of like not improving your empire in any direction other than faith. So that's kind of our plan here, is to just crank out as much faith as humanly possible and kind of like ignore the consequences of our poor decision making. Let's start getting some more settlers. We will start getting free builders now. I wish I had a unit to explore up here to the north. I think it might be worth my while to get another scout, just so we can continue to find out land. Knowledge is power here for me in this game. I don't know if I'm going to go for monarchy, but I'm definitely rushing now for my tier 2 government in Reformed Church. I think I skip right past monarchy here this game. That's my best course of action. Honestly, monasteries provide just as much value as Kurgans here. So monastery is a viable tile improvement. It's not bad here. But I think I'm going to put down a couple of mines to give the city production. There's Basel. We have met Byzantium. You're probably noticing a theme by now that pretty much every civ in this game has at least somewhat of a bias towards religion, with the exception of a couple of wildcard civs that I just kind of sloshed in, like Menelik. Or sorry, not Menelik, sorry, Pachacuti. Let's have a look at, we've got pearls for sale now, and pearls are not very high value in this universe, but they are selling, and that's good. That's gold per turn that's helping us. We unlocked apprenticeship, that's +1 production from our mines. That'll heavily help our mausoleum build. Let's double check our envoy status here. Construct a campus, recruit a great scientist, religious conversion, inspiration for military training. Probably won't get control of Nan Madal this game. It might be tough. I would really like to control them though. I'll go ahead and pick up construction to have access to lumber mills. There's a couple of tiles I would like to build lumber mills on. Compromise has finished its granary and it's ready for its 3rd district. There's an argument to be made for a few different districts here. I could go for the harbour, which would give me flexibility in terms of expanding my empire. I could go for the diplomatic quarter, which would give me lots of envoys and envoy production. I could go for the commercial hub. I could go for theatre squares. I feel like the diplo quarter makes a difference here for me this game. Yeah, in my opinion, I feel like the diplomatic quarter here makes a big difference to my game. It will give me a lot of envoy points. This is the best city to build it in. This is my only non-coastal city, so I don't need a harbor in this city. Whereas in my other coastal cities, I pretty much have to get a harbor. So I need to get up over here to Armagh as well to do a little bit of exploration there. So I don't have plantation tech yet. Let's go ahead and do a 1-turn irrigation and then head for construction again. Chop out that temple, then go ahead and get to work on the granary monument. Could I potentially squeeze out a little bit of extra food here? Probably not. We're fine. There's irrigation that we were looking for. Perfect. And I can send this scout up here to the north to pick up that tribal village. Neopets, I just need to get as much faith churning as I can. In terms of trade routes, I'd like to maybe start trading internationally a little bit. Although there is something to be said to putting this in Berserk and trading with my capital to try to get this Petra a little bit quicker. There's Nalanda, potentially useful. City-state. Persia game when? Didn't we just do one? Am I crazy? Masonry is not an important tech for me. I mean, it does allow me to harvest stone, which is like a slight upgrade to my empire. Man, which tile do I want to settle this city on? None of these tiles are amazing. I guess this tile here is fine. I mean, if I move one tile to the left, I get a slightly better harbor. So we'll trade with compromise, which will allow the city to grow. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves... I mean, this water tile is fine, so we'll leave that water tile to be what it's working on. And it'll grow in 5 turns. So down to 45 turns on that Petra. Is slow and steady wins the race, boys, okay? That's what I'm telling you. I've never had such a trash empire in my entire life, okay? I'm trying to be upbeat here. I'm trying to be happy. But let me tell you, this empire is horrendous. Okay, but hear me out, Persia. Listen, dude, you need to calm down, okay? This is actually a horrendous game. Genuinely horrendous. Like, look, what is this? What is this empire? It's actually awful. It's not even thick. There is some island potential here. Even Mali laughed at you. I know, right? And he's normally kind of a nice guy. I do like that we're up to nearly 100 faith per turn. That bodes well for the rest of the game. Excuse me, Norway. Where do you think you're taking that settler? Is he like running past my empire to a city I can't see and yoinking it from under my eyes? I can't let it happen. This settler is literally running down mid to try and beat me out to somewhere, and I don't like it. I'm not a fan. And I can't even tell where he's going, which like makes it even scarier. Because he could be going to some like the promised land. I will never know. The medieval era ends in 10 turns, which is fine. I am going to pick up my consulate because this actually represents a good chunk of faith income in my empire. And then we'll probably look into starting to build, like do a round of settler building in a few cities. I'm sitting on 1 envoy. I have the double envoy card plugged in. So I could start making friends with, Jerusalem here. Jerusalem is a great city to get suzerain, so I'll start working on that one. I'm actually able to like explore with my builders far better than I am with like my actual scouts because they have the extra movement from monumentality. I don't think I'm going to secure myself another golden age, unfortunately, but I will be able to get out another 2 monumentality settlers, which does feel pretty good. Plus 10 combat strength for all units of this religion. Who has the most diplo favor? Unfortunately, I think I just have to pick another person's religion who I'm not going to come into conflict with for a while. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick Buddhism because Japan has a good amount of diplo favor. And then I'll choose ranged because people tend to choose ranged. So Buddhism and ranged pass. That's another 2 diplomatic victory points. Hey, backup victory condition if we if we need it. Unfortunately, monasteries can't be built next to each other, I'm pretty sure. But I can still throw down like kurgans and stuff. Let's keep on buying those builders. It's pretty damn good value for money to be able to get that many. I don't care about my galleys anymore or my exploring units. I'm going to stop micromanaging them. At this point, I've met like the majority of the civs on the map. And any more micromanaging isn't going to like get me that much more. One thing though that I could potentially do here is get an alliance with somebody. And who do I want to get an alliance with? I think if I'm going to get an alliance with someone, I think it's Norway. Norway has been a bro for me this entire game. With the exception of this whole like forward settling me thing that he's about to do. God, I really want this land. I'm so land hungry at the moment. He settled such a terrible city here in Hamara. And yes, I'm going to continue to say it wrong to make you guys mad. What's my next step this game? I don't know. It's a tough one. I think technologically, I don't care about anything anymore. Once this era is over, it's settlers and faith and missionaries and stuff like that to try and convert the entire world to my religion. Norway can cross oceans before I can, and he also has the Great Lighthouse. What I might be able to do is like figure out what tile he wants to settle on and to block him. That might be my only real way to like slow him down here. So I would like to win that aid request if I could, because the diplomatic victory backup here should always be respected. Like the stopping of the swordsman here, Yerevan, is just really Do I levy Yerevan so that I can move my settler one extra tile? Am I that petty? Yes, I am that petty. I don't know, but that looks like it's going to crash my game. Yeah, I am petty enough to levy a city-state just so I can move my settler one more turn in a race to settle an island. I am that petty, okay? And I'll admit that I'm that petty. There you go. This is somebody asked me to donate for this name, and it's unpronounceable, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's start leveling Moksha. It's important for me now to get access to Patron Saint. Yeah, so we're only going to get one city on this island, but that's okay. Let's come over to Kralix and place our harbor. It's a +3 harbor. Not the greatest harbor, but not the worst. And we'll also go ahead and purchase ourselves a settler here. Do I want to settle north or do I want to settle east? I think trying to compete for these settles to the east is actually the right move. So I guess I'll come into compromise again and buy another settler here, even though that does hurt my empire's yields quite a bit. We have our harbor placed in Ali Meadows. I would like to get the Granary Monument. I think it's time that Liang was now moved. I guess I could theoretically buy one more builder out of there and then move her. But she's going to go ahead and get reassigned to Pearly Gates. Thinking about this city and how I make value out of it. There's really not a lot the city can do short term. So I think getting a granary might be like the path to redemption here. Honestly, the path to redemption is through a harbor to be able to work these coastal tiles. Hey, we have a man-at-arms as well. We definitely don't want to harvest anything that gives me pastures here. Do you ever build fisheries with Liang and then move her around? No, I don't think that's worth doing, in my opinion. I really don't think it's good enough. It doesn't give you enough of an advantage. But there's access to monarchy. We could go for the Kotoku in this game. That is a 20% faith buff across my empire. I don't think we're going to go for monarchy, though. I think we just leave that the way it is. Yeah, I think we'll stay off monarchy as much as we... Well, I mean, those influence points are actually really damn good. I really want to stay away from monarchy, but 50% influence buff is pretty good. This is more of a culture victory save. This is your faith. You want to get the theocracy, I think. I think we just have to go theocracy here. I don't think... If we're going for a religious victory... Well, I'm devastated. He actually got here first, and I have a cliff in my way. So, unless I can figure out exactly which tile he wants to settle, I think he beats me to this island. Yeah, he just beats me. He's a turn ahead. Maybe if I can stand on both cattles, maybe I'll force him into a suboptimal direction. We'll see. Did he ever finish that? He finished the lighthouse, so he might actually be able to get onto land this turn. And I might not be able to prevent his settle on this cattle here. Devastating. I wish it would tell me where it wants me to settle this city, because then I could predict. Kralix has a temple now, and I think a harbor would be okay. It wouldn't be bad to get a granary, but I think the harbor is actually just better for coastal cities. Oh, where did he go? He's not going to this island at all. Hey, wait, he went back? That's big. That's big for me if he goes back. Okay, so am I going for a double settle on this island, or am I going for a single settle? I could settle on the iron. I think I settle on the iron. Yeah, I settle on the iron, I think. I could put 2 cities here, but I think at this stage of the game, I just need to claim as much land as I can and use these kind of cities as way stops for my useful missionaries and stuff. I can't believe Norway turned around. I'm so happy. Also, my faith is just cranking, dude. I'm very happy. So I think our major goal now is to just get through this era as simply as possible, get up into the next era, get our harbors, get our economy up, get into Reformed Church, evangelize our religion, get our tier 3 holy site buildings up, get our level 3 relationship with each faith-based city-state up, and then see if we can't, make a religious play happen on the map. But what we're trying to do is build like an overwhelming economy. We did get our consulate in our capital. Do I want to start just cranking out settlers here from this city? I think I do. I'm not going to be able to buy more now in the near future. So cranking out a few extra settlers will make my empire much better. All right, what have we got to sell here? Looks like somebody wants to buy pearls. 200 gold for pearls. That's perfect. That means I can actually come in here and buy the lighthouse and actually start growing the city. Boom, boom. I think I'm going to grow this city. It will significantly slow down the mausoleum, but this city will grow at like an insane rate now. Do UI mods disable achievements? I'm pretty sure no mods disable achievements. Am I crazy? Do mods in Civ actually even disable achievements? I don't think they do. You might be thinking of Paradox games that do that. Paradox games, I know if you install like basically any mod that like even slightly changes the gameplay, it'll disable memes. Right, we're on the last 2 turns of this era. I'll go ahead and faith purchase my last settler. And then next turn I'll be able to faith purchase a builder. Although maybe I'd be better off just getting like a couple of missionaries real quick. I should probably have like a command to send you guys a link to my UI mods. It's a mistake not to have that command. Something we'll figure out over time. Boom, boom. So 7 brothers. This city's going to build a holy site and then a ton. And I mean a ton of kurgans. So let's just like place a holy site somewhere innocuous, like right there. 45 build time on that one. That's why I'm saying these late settled cities, they're not going to be as useful for actually winning the game, but they will help to some extent. Like in a certain world, it's actually optimal for me to just start spamming holy site prayers. But I think it's kind of satisfying building up a big useful empire with actual like good tile yields and stuff like that. So let's commit to their capital, and we'll just yoink ourselves. Take that horse tile right there. We're down to 20 turns. Well, it says 24 here, but it's 20 down here. 20 turns on our Petra and 26 turns on the mausoleum. Let's get a missionary. Be a pretty good missionary. It's going to have, I think, like 5 or 6 charges. Yeah, 5 charges on that missionary will let me spread my religion to these newly settled cities. I think we get that harbor up. Harbor. We're sitting on an envoy. I think we take suzerainty of Jerusalem. That gives me very, very robust stuff. So like I was saying, our goal now is to save as much faith as possible, to get our religion evangelized, get Reformed Church online, get Moksha to level to where he's making level 2 apostles, which will require us to get medieval fairs and build our government plaza building. Once we're there, that's when we can like we've sort of built the engine, and then we activate the engine to actually take on the AI. So we're in the building phase right now, and we're actually quite close to flipping the switch. The 20 Diplo favor out of that. That's not like ideal. Another tribal village. I am finding even more land over here. So man, we were super unfortunate with our spawn. But here's the thing: there's nothing that monumentality and and a religion can't like settle you out of. You just settle enough cities and you get out. All right, cool. So we're in a new era. We didn't get a golden age. That's unfortunate. We do have Reformed Church though. So one part of the trifecta that we're going to activate next episode is ready. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.